Oh, George is the most beautiful character. He is. He's basically the builder of the shelves, and it seems to be this sort of mysterious and uplifting kind of folklore around George Pocock. Seemed to be a person that people loved, was highly respected. He built shelves for all sorts of universities and from the Ivy League schools, and he was in house at Washington for a time at least. Just a guy who knew his stuff and was the best at it, and really kind of in our story you get a sense he's sort of the closest thing to a Jedi that we've got in this. Like he's like a man who understands the sport as poetry. He reveres it in a way. It's a religion when you're around George, and he sees it as a beautiful thing. Boys in the Boat is a film about finding a family, I think, and about achieving something together. And while these boys don't know each other, you know, the bond that's formed, and it's very personal, it's very human. So I think that it won't just be a rowing film. It'll be a film about pulling something out of yourselves that you didn't know you had. There's a certain swagger and a masculinity to certain actors. And then if they are willing to and confident enough to show a dimension of, vulnerability and fragility, or fear, it makes for a full person. It makes for a more interesting character. And I think that's something that Callum is very interesting because of that. He's a big guy, and he's obviously very confident in some aspects, and the impression, the silhouette of him is that he's a capable man and a tough guy in some aspects, but there's also a softer side to him. So to be able to see the boy and the man at the same time, I think is really good. And some of my favourite actors have that quality, or have that duality. I'm always impressed by actors that make films, um, and particularly actors that make good films, and that have a track record of making good. And George has made a handful of movies, a good handful. And I was just curious, like, what it would be like being on set with him. And it makes sense, but he knows a set, like, and if you're a smart actor and you're interested in filmmaking, you start to observe what's going on. You can definitely switch off to that stuff and go to your trailer and walk out and be like, "Where's my mark?" And I say this, and then I'll go back to my trailer. But if you want, you can really kind of sponge up information. Um, and he really knows how a set works. He knows how a camera works, where to put a camera, how efficiently he could shoot certain scenes versus being very meticulous about other ones. And he's super confident about when he's happy to move on. Um, like really confident about going, okay, I've got 2 takes in the can. I'm happy with them. I'm going to move on. Whereas you might, in the hands I mean, every director's different. I wouldn't say it's a lack of confidence to do multiple takes, but some people really do overshoot things. But the long and the short of it is George really understands the technical requirements of a set. He knows the equipment. He knows everybody's, he doesn't presume to do everybody's job, but he obviously knows what everybody's job is. He's a great person to be around. And he and Grant have done an incredible amount of research Look, I hope, I guess in some way I feel like the audience should have a really celebratory experience, and maybe sitting in a cinema, if that's what I hope they do, that they'll feel like an extension of the crowd at the Olympics or at Poughkeepsie. I just think it's an interesting and a crucial time to be watching stories that make us feel good. I've always been someone who's like, I like movies that make me feel challenged and bad. And lately, I don't know whether it's because I'm older or I've become a father or because of sort of a post-COVID sort of feeling. But I'm more interested in watching movies that are going to make me feel like, when the credits roll. So I think this film is one of those things that's going to make people feel good about things,